to the Clare Show. Hope you're full of festive cheer, kicking back, relaxing and enjoying life. Well, tonight's guests don't know the meaning of relaxing. They're all champion racers who push their bodies to the limit and beyond in their pursuit of victory. They all have a need for speed, so we better not hang around. Here is our lineup. He was champion jockey for 20 consecutive years and is widely regarded as the greatest jockey of all time. He's the biggest superstar of racing. He is AP McCoy. We have one of Britain's most talented riders on both track and road. He has 2 Olympic gold medals to prove it. He is Geraint Thomas. And his Formula 1 CV includes 13 pole positions, 42 podiums and 9 wins. He's currently motor racing's world endurance champion. Completing our grid, it's Mark Webber. So my guests tonight have been getting on famously. They are all elite racers who flirt with danger every time they compete. The injuries they've suffered are a reminder that risk remains at the heart of crossing the finishing line in first place.
AP McCoy has it, Geraint Thomas has it, and Mark Webber has it. That special it is courage, and it's on display every time they race. With more than 4,000 winners to his name, he's the most successful jockey of all time. But it's not just records that AP McCoy has broken. In his quest for winners, he's broken almost every bone in his body. Double Olympic gold medalist and multiple world champion Geraint Thomas is one of the toughest men in sport and never let pain or injury stand in his way. He rode much of the 2013 Tour de France with a fractured pelvis. Formula 1 great and current world endurance champion Mark Webber puts his life on the line every time he climbs into his race car. He's been involved in countless crashes, including slamming his car into a wall at 200 miles per hour. Behind the wheel and in the saddle, they've ridden through the pain barrier. They are racing machines. Please welcome Geraint Thomas, AP McCoy and Mark Webber.
Very enthusiastic audience tonight.
Good.
You're very popular.
You're pumped up.
All of you. You're very brave men, as we've just outlined. Is there anything, actually, that you are scared of, or that you would admit to being scared of, Mark?
Yeah, I'm not good on claustrophobia. Getting worse with age, actually, so I don't know where that come from, but horrendous. I would not want to be in a tight space, so which is ridiculous with the job I have, because actually it's pretty claustrophobic, actually, with my helmet on in the race car, but... yeah, that's only come on the last, 5, 6, 7 years, getting worse.
Geraint, are you scared of anything?
I'm the same. Now I'm getting on a bit. I feel like I'm...
Getting on a bit?
Yeah.
30 yet?
30 next year.
Well...
But, yeah, heights. I'm not good with heights. Yeah.
You're not good with heights, and you ride up in the mountains.
Yeah, that's okay.
You're not good with tight spaces, and you're in a tiny, tiny cockpit
Maybe because
of a car.
we've done it so often now where we've tested ourselves too much.
And what about you, AP?
Well, as he's getting on a bit, I'm practically dead, I think. I'm a little bit like Mark, believe it or not. I'm only with the MRI scan machines. I think probably because when you were going into them, it wasn't for a very good reason.
Well, actually, that is something I'm sure you've all been through. The MRI scanner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it quite relaxing. I know before
On a lighter note, we have to say congratulations on receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award at Sports Personality of the Year. The reception you got from a home crowd in Belfast, I have rarely felt a reception like it. I thought it was incredibly emotional.
Yeah, it was, to receive it in Belfast, being from Northern Ireland. I think the people of Belfast, Northern, put on a fantastic show, as did the BBC. It was a wonderful evening. The only thing I did say about winning the Lifetime Achievement Award, there isn't any more afterwards, so it's, it wasn't like winning the Sports Personality in 2010, because there's a little bit of a future, there's things to look forward to and you can keep going in your sport, but when you win the Lifetime Achievement Award, especially at 41.
It's a hint, mate, isn't it? It's a hint.
I wouldn't be looking forward to it, Mark, if I was you.
I don't think it's going to happen, buddy, but yeah, it's
He
in your
does have
message.
a way, AP, of finding the negative, even in a really nice thing.
Yeah.
You know, what's the worst aspect of it? Well, my life is over.
Well, in sport, but no, it's a unbelievably prestigious trophy. You know, I looked at the names on it: Pele, Seve Ballesteros, you know, people like George Best or Alex Ferguson. So, you know, nice to be on a trophy that their names are on.
And it reflects an utter dominance in the sport for 2 decades. I mean, Mark, I know obviously Schumacher was incredibly successful, I think won 7 world titles, but could anyone in motor racing do that for 20 years?
20 years, I think, is tricky. Yeah, definitely tricky. So, in any sport, I think, as you say, I mean, what AP's done in his chosen field is exceptional. Michael was probably the most dominant, certainly in terms of championships and wins, but that was probably from 94 to 08. So, I mean, he still was, and we're talking 15 years there, I suppose, give or take, whatever. But 20 years, mate, well done. Good effort, that's for sure.
Geraint, what would be the age span that you could stay at the top?
I think, you know, it's sort of late 20s to early 30s, maybe 5-6 years. Kind of where I am now, kind of going into my purple patch. But, you know, with cycling, it's such a team sport. It's kind of like football. Your role in the team changes. So, you know, you can kind of go till you're 40, but you're not sort of winning. You're more doing an earlier job. And
You could be part of a team and play a part, but...
Yeah, but you won't be the one going across the line.
Yeah, it's not going to happen,
So do you sort of know in your head already how many Tour de France's you've got left?
Not really. I guess I kind of know I've got maybe 4 good ones, you know, where I can... You know, this year was kind of a surprise in a way. I didn't really expect to be as good as I was for so long in the race. So that's really sort of opened my eyes now to the future. I'm really looking forward to it.
Because, so you've got 4 or 5 years ahead of you. AP is already, you know, basically over. Mark, you did retire from Formula One racing, but you took up endurance racing. Were you missing, you know, the racing edge to your life?
Yeah, I think it's quite popular in our sport that I mean, Formula One is obviously the pinnacle, and it's still pretty tricky to then just stop completely. Like Monday morning, okay, I'm not going to race competitively at all. So then you have to look at other options, and it's only 8 races a year, which is great, but I share a car with 2 other guys, so it's actually a different mental side of the sport, and less individual, but still, I'm really enjoying, the cars are super quick. They're very, very close to F1 in terms of performance, which is good for me because I have to adjust less. And and also I can help some of the young guys coming through, actually, which I'm enjoying.
Well, and the other benefit is you are now a world champion.
Yeah, it was a good season. Yeah, it went really, really well.
But those are the other 2, were you there?
Yeah, they're short, mate.
God, they are young as well, aren't they?
They're very young, mate, yeah. Brendan's 24, mate, and he's got like all his crow feet, you know, we wind him up big time. Like he's a very, you know, insecure young lad, so we crank him up. We give him fun.
That age thing is a horrible thing. I knew, well, I didn't know. I always thought that I'd retire if I was lucky enough to win 20 jockey championships. But about February time, my valet, Chris Maud, who looks after all the gear and used to be a jockey. Used to be a jockey. He wished one of the younger lads, a young lad called Brendan Powell, his birthday. You know, he said, "Oh, happy birthday." And I said, "What age are you?" And he said, 20. Yeah. And Chris Maud turned to me and says, "You realise he wasn't born when you were champion jockey." And I knew then it's not a good sign when people aren't born that you're competing against.
Now, you will all... Have you ever been disqualified from a race, Mark? Actually.
Yeah.
You've been disqualified, haven't you? You must have.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Just explain, Geraint, what was happening here. This is back in the velodrome here in Olympic Park, and it was an event that is a sort of endurance event. Now, you're being very friendly, leaning over, talking to the fans. "Oh, I'll do the selfie for you." And what happened?
Yeah, I got disqualified.
Why?
It was a bad picture, was it?
Yeah. Well, it's not like it's an Olympic discipline, so it's a bit of fun, you know, and it's called the longest lap, and you're not allowed to cross the finish line until they blow the whistle, then it's a 1-lap race. I can't really stand still for very long, like some of them are really good at it. So I thought, well, I'll just have a bit of fun, maybe just take a selfie. I was doing my bit for the fans, you know, who had paid money to come and watch.
You're actually quite a keen cyclist, aren't you, Mark?
Yeah, jack of all trades, legend of none. So, did a lot. Mountain biking, running, swimming. I mean, growing up in Australia, I mean, that's just what we do, I suppose. You know, education is not top of our list, it's sport.
at one stage, did you train with Lance Armstrong?
I mean, I did,
Before, obviously, we
Yeah.
knew what we know.
Hope you didn't beat him.
I didn't beat him, mate.
What was he like, actually?
Yeah, he's an intelligent guy. I asked him straight up many times, you know, what's the score, what's going on, the peloton or you guys? No, it's all clean, it's all well organised, it's all, you know, so, I mean, you're still like...
And were you shocked when it was all sort of confirmed, because you knew him, did you think?
I think we were just disappointed. I think, you know that it was just I mean, he's a phenomenal, huge, massive brand. I mean, he was. I mean, Lance Armstrong was... Everything.
But the saddest thing is for you, Geraint, for you being part of that sport, because you get tainted for things you're not doing that he did.
Yeah, for sure, but I also think it was the best thing that could happen to the sport as well. I think, you know, it certainly helped clean it up a lot. You know, no one's too big to be caught, and it's tough, really. I think you just got to keep doing what we're doing, and you know, keep doing it the right way. And you know, when we die, in 200 odd years down the line, your victories are still there. And
when you die in 200 years.
No, I mean,
sorry. I know.
I meant
they're on nothing. They're on nothing. They're on nothing.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to ask you about growing up and when you sort of first knew that your sport was going to be it for you. Mark, here's a picture of you as a youngster in Australia. I know, Nice.
Those legs, eh? Yeah, so motorbikes for me. Started on bikes. Quite a few injuries on those early on. So then my friend had a go-kart, and then the day I drove a go-kart, I think that was, so I was 12, 13. I think I just could not get it out of my head. The track, the curbs, the line, the engine, just, that was it.
We want to see little Geraint, don't we? Little Geraint. Look at you. That's an interesting haircut. That is you, is it?
Yeah, that's me, yeah.
How old were you when you first sat on a bike?
Oh, since I can remember, really, just riding a bike. I used to do everything as a kid, you know, swimming and running and football, rugby, cycling. It wasn't until I was like 16, 17 when I was fully cycling. And
for you, AP, I mean, who had you seen that made you think, like, that's what I'll be?
I was 16 there. That was my first ever ride, that was. I was 6'3". My dad was friendly with a man who trained race horses, and I got friendly with him about one of the horses that my dad bred. And from about the age of 10 or 11, I started to go there on my weekends and school holidays and that. And from about 12 or 13, I really wanted to be a jockey.
Mark, in your book, Aussie Gritch, with that very moody photo of you on the front, you're pretty open about your relationship with Sebastian Vettel. And if I describe it as tempestuous, that would be fairly accurate.
Pretty accurate, yeah.
Did you call him first to let him know that you were going to...
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I rang him up. He was racing the Monte Carlo Grand Prix, and I wasn't staying too far away, and I just said, I want to come down and if you've got 10 minutes, I just want to run a few things past you. And he said, yeah, no worries.
How did that chat go?
Yeah, we all do things in parts of our careers which we could have maybe handled or done differently. And we went through some tough periods, and he said, look, I fully expect sections of the book where you're going to probably tee off on me.
You crashed into one another at one point, didn't you?
Yeah, in the lead. Yeah, we took each other out, so went to the fence. So,
Geraint, did you dish the dirt on anyone in your book? Were you, apart from obviously deliberately calling Chris Froome South African?
No, I didn't. It was... it's a completely different book to normal autobiographies, I guess, because somebody's asked me before, and I was like, I don't have, like, some X Factor story about a kid, you know? I just had a nice upbringing, and, you know, I didn't get chased by hippos like Froome in Kenya. Maybe the odd dog in Cardiff, but, you know.
But it is quite funny, your book, actually, to be fair. Because you're quite funny.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's okay. Now, AP has had three autobiographies now?
3 or 4, yeah.
3 or 4, and a novel, obviously. Yeah. But this year, a documentary was released called Being AP, which followed you through the final season and the decision to retire and then on. Now, there are a couple of great scenes in it. One is when you've broken your ribs, you basically lie to your wife, Chanel, in the car, rings and says, the doctor says, I'm absolutely grand. Then he tries to play football with the kids, and this is what happens.
Just kick it away up there, out of the way. Oh, jeez.
He's in denial, but I think he's cracked his sternum and four ribs. He's popped them.
Come on, Evie, get stuck in, Evie. Go on, Evie. Bill.
The two things out of that, one is trying to play through the pain, and the other is poor Evie. Go on, Evie! Go on, Evie!
I think at that time I'd broken 3 ribs and I had punctured my lung like sort of 3 or 4 days earlier and dislocated my collarbone. So, and then I went back riding about 4 days later. So, wasn't a good idea. Wasn't my brightest move.
No, but the three of you, you do have crashing or falling as part of what you do. Did you actually learn to fall, AP? Did you, you know, to try and minimise injuries? Did you get good at falling?
How do I answer that? Do I say that I fell so much I got better at it? Is that what you're mean? It's the same as you on the tour, because if you get a fall on the tour, you're obviously, you got to be, you're back out the next day again, or you're back out straight away. If you got a fall, you can't just suddenly have a day off, right? Can you?
Yeah, it is tough, and it's just, but like you said, you just don't think about it. It's just sort of that tunnel vision. You just get in the zone, and it's like taking the pin out really, and you just go, and you learn over time as well. Like I certainly have. There's a time and a place to take that risk as well.
It's quite rare, therefore, to hit a lamppost and go down a ravine after it.
Yeah.
But you've managed to do that. We can have a look at this. Now, keep your eye, yes, there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Oh. And so the weirdest thing is, the crash ends up happening in slow motion.
Yeah, that's quite a notorious descent as well, because quite a few people have crashed. Like, there's a few guys that ended their career pretty much on that descent. So everyone knows about it, and everyone's just that extra bit careful, you know. And so we're just going down it and, you know, minding my own business, you know, following the wheel and braking. And the next thing is just like from behind, just bang, T-bones, and then, yeah, those maybe 3-4 seconds are scary, because you're kind of like, well, there's a lamppost.
I know, you're fairly unlucky as well, that much room and then there's a lamppost.
Mark, this is an interesting photo, because you seem in this to be driving upside down. Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's real.
About to be.
That's real. Yeah, it's 1999 at Le Mans in France. It's my first time in sports cars, and after this I went to Formula One. So these cars were dangerous. They aerodynamically were unstable at high speed, particularly when you're behind another car. So that hump in the road now is one of the fastest parts of the track. So we're looking at, you know, about 215 mile an hour. So they've actually now shaved the top of that hump off, so it's much more gradual. And I'm thinking at this point, I'm thinking it's all over. Like if I go on the trees, if the thing goes left or right, again, I've got no control over it. It's
nice picture.
Yeah, it's a great picture, mate.
It's a good picture, isn't it?
It's a phenomenal shot, mate.
Do you have it in your house anywhere, that photo?
No, not at all. But yeah, I just it just goes all slow motion. I just don't want any pain. So if the lights are off, just no pain, and that's it.
Now, food, major thing for all of you, and Geraint, actually, for you to be at the peak in your sport, do you have to watch what you eat? Did you in the last year?
Yeah, more so now. Now I'm trying to, you know, be more of a GC like racer. You need to be able to go uphill, and power to weight's really key. And whereas before on the track it was just power, so it didn't really matter so much.
What about you, Mark? Because obviously you're very tall, so you...
Yeah, wrong size height-wise for Formula One driver. So yeah, I was 74, 75 kilos.
So it's not just you, AP. All this time when you thought yours is like the worst routine of the lot because you're miserable because you can't eat enough and grumpy.
I played that part really well, didn't I? When I retired, I was having breakfast in the morning. I was having fried breakfast. I was eating lunch, dinner. I was eating when I wasn't even hungry. You know what I mean? I wasn't just eating for the... I was eating for the novelty of it, you know what I mean? Because I thought it was great fun.
So here's a little quiz for you. A person from each one of your sports. Which one is the heaviest and which one is the lightest? So we've got the third-time world champion, Lewis Hamilton, who's 5'7", by the way. This year's leading jump jockey, Richard Johnson, who, in the absence of AP, could be, well, we hope, going to win his first championship. And he's 5'7" as well, just for added information. And two-time Tour de France winner Chris Froome, who is 6'1". So, who's the heaviest of the three of them, and what does he weigh?
Lewis Hamilton's the lightest, anyway.
With or without jewellery?
Good point. How many kilos is it?
Oh, mate, Lewis, I think Lewis would be 66 kilos.
Is he?
Lewis is the heaviest, I'm saying.
You think Lewis is
Heavier
the
than Chris
heaviest?
Froome, he's 6'1",
No,
Chris
Froome is.
But look at him, mate.
Froome's
Look at his
heavier than
arms.
66.
Look at his arms.
Froome's like
Same as his bike.
7 probably.
You said you think Lewis is...
66 kilos.
What did you say you think Chris Froome is?
67.
And what do you think Dickie is?
63, 64.
OK, well, let's have a look. The heaviest
Chris Froome, I'd say.
is Chris Froome. You're spot on with 67 kilograms. Now, there's not much in it.
Really?
The second heviest
I don't know if Froome was that
is
common.
Lewis Hamilton at 66, exactly, which is exactly what you said.
You got it right, mate. Good jump.
And we rang Richard Johnson this morning, and this morning he was 10 stone 4, which is 65 kilograms. So that is the order. Very good. And actually, I think Lewis has said he's aiming to be 2 kilograms lighter for the beginning of the season.
Yeah, he's got loads of room to move. Loads of room to move.
Carrying plenty.
He'll be fine, yeah.
Geraint, when you're in the middle of a race like the Tour de France and you're taking on so many calories as you go and you're burning them as you go, can you feel yourself getting stronger as the race goes on, or the reverse?
Not really. It's like at the Commonwealth Games 2 years ago. I just come out of the Tour and I felt terrible all race, and I didn't really feel better at the end. It felt like everyone just suddenly just got worse and was just like, and you're just there alone and you feel good and you win, you know.
It hasn't
It's
yet
great.
been your turn to lead the team, so you played the support role to Chris Froome. Is it going to be your turn soon?
I don't know, but for sure I'd hope so. You know, we're talking about crashes and, you know, Froome is prone to a crash or two, and so you never know, he might fall off and I might get a chance. But
Because you're not, mate, are you?
no, I
you're
am as
not,
well, actually. Yeah.
But you're exactly, yeah, we've seen your crashes, mate. But you were happy enough being a support rider. Mark, for you with Sebastian Vettel, much, much harder. And was it the British Grand Prix when you said not bad for a number 2 driver when you won?
Yeah. So, yeah, in practice we had this new front wing which was being developed. In the practice session, Seb damaged his wing, which wasn't his fault. It actually just sort of failed in a way. But then we were down to one wing, and then actually so they took his wing, or sorry, my wing, which was fresh on Saturday, and took it over the other car, which I wasn't happy with because I was leading the championship at the time, and we were nip and tuck in the championship, and I'd won a few races, 50-50 on pretty much everything up to that year. So, and he nipped me in pole by like a 10th, and I'm like, I'm going to have to win the race tomorrow now just to sort of let him know what I think. So, and I did, yeah, won the race, and then I said, yeah, not bad for number 2 driver. So.
As elite racers, I'm imagining you might not do the full caring, sharing, you know, wonderfully romantic, your life is my life kind of thing. But to be fair, if you're going to be a professional sportsman and that is what your life is committed to, you've got to be selfish, haven't you?
I was a lot more selfish in the earlier part of my career. Definitely the last 5 or 6 years, I was much. I was a much better person to everyone, I think, not just my wife. But it's gone full circle now. I'm a complete yes husband now. Just, I have no control whatsoever. Just do what I'm told. No discipline. I'm not selfish anymore. So that's what happens when you retire, lads.
Geraint, very recently married.
Yeah, a couple of months ago. Yeah.
And this is to Sarah.
Yeah.
That's a lovely photo.
I was a bit nervous about that, actually.
What, picking her up or the ticker tape?
Picking her up. Not that she's fat. She's really... she's lean. But, you know, you've had a few to drink and kind of a bit like... But it went all right. Oh, well.
Was it a lovely romantic day? Did you feel emotional?
I did. I actually
Yes,
cried.
the answer, yes, is the answer, guys.
I cried. I was just like... I just did not know what happened. It was weird, man. Like, seriously, I was at the church and I walked in and I saw her 2 cousins that were going to sing and her uncle, and just started crying.
With happiness, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just tell people now.
Just checking.
It was the realisation.
So bad. You're just so wrong.
Yeah, it was probably the realisation that I was about to lose 50% of everything, but...
AP, how are you adjusting actually to life out of the saddle?
It's okay. I'm better than I thought I was going to be, because, you know, it's something I've done for pretty much all of my life. There's a lot of things that I don't miss. I don't miss the diet, and I don't miss the travelling. I don't miss being in ambulances or going to the hospital. The only thing I really miss, Clare, is winning. You know, I think that's something that's not replaceable. And I know that a lot of people, sports people that retire, they look for something to try and replace that buzz. But, you know, hopefully I can find something that I really enjoy doing. I don't know whether I've found it yet or whether I will ever find it.
But can you replace the adrenaline rush of racing? Can you, so forget the winning for a second, but the actual, just the rush of competition, the speed, the excitement, all of that, can you replace that?
Can I find something that will ever get that buzz from it again? Not a chance to say. It's not happening. There's no point looking for it, because it's not... What can I do to replace riding off?
Yeah, I think that for me, I can do lots of other things reasonably well, but it's still going to be a bit frustrating. It's like, no, well, I can't quite do it at that level. You know, we don't do things by half measures in terms of when we get in the car. It's actually pretty much
driving it as fast as you can.
As quick as it will go. We've always got the stopwatch on us in racing term. You know, obviously when the guys in cycling got to train and they've got to build up. When the racing's on, when the gun goes, it's on. And same with AP. But in terms of with us, when testing, and we're generally...
It needs to be flat out.
Always pushing the boundaries.
Isn't that what Mario Andretti said? If you're in control, you're not going fast enough.
Pretty much, mate. Yeah. Yep. So if you're in control, you're not going faster. On the edge.
Yep. Well, you have all been sensational, and Geraint, I suspect sitting between the two of them, you're just thinking, thank God, I can still do it for a long time. So good luck in the Tour next year. Good luck at the Olympics as well. Right, to round off tonight's show, we thought we'd play to your competitive instinct and have a bit of fun, because you're all winners. It means you get spray champagne all the time on the podium in the winners' enclosure, and I reckon you must all have some pretty good cork skills. So I'd like you to come this way. We've all of us got a bottle of champagne, or to be honest, it is sort of just cheap fizz, to be honest. And basically the idea is to hit that red cup off the top with the cork. OK, now I'll go first, because I'm bound to be useless at this, and then that'll make you feel really good.
Careful.
Oh! It came out a bit quicker than I intended.
All right.
It did.
That's what happens sometimes.
How high? So, AP, I think you should go next. I think Mark should go last, because he's going to be...
He's going to be the best at it,
He's got to be best at it, yeah.
It won't just come off once I take this off, though.
Well, I hope not. Mine sort of did. So next up, Geraint Thomas. Don't do that. Oh. That's gone flying up somewhere into the roof. Nowhere near.
No.
OK, so Mark Webber, it's over to you, because I think you're the only one that might actually get this close.
Well, it wants to go. Captain Kate Richardson-Walsh and the nation's most lovable ski jumper, Eddie the Eagle Edwards. I have to say, huge thanks to my fantastic guests, to AP McCoy, to Geraint Thomas, to Mark Webber. Thank you, Eric, for watching. We'll see you very soon. Good night.